Hey guys, two quick things before we get into this video. Number one, you're not going to see me doing like any error handling or anything in the code like that. That's really because this was a proof of concept project off the top of my head. It's really not meant to be a production ready app or anything like that. So I'm just trying to get the idea out there for you guys to see. In the future, if you'd like to see more on error handling or writing clean code, definitely let me know and I can focus more on that in my video. Number two, there's going to be parts of this video that aren't perfect in audio or video quality. Just bear with me as I learn the ropes of YouTube and recording, editing, etc. As this channel grows, I'll start to learn and get better at that kind of stuff. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, what's up, fellow subscribers? All 9 of you. That's a bold estimate. We're gonna try and build a Twitter bot today. This bot will go through and follow a user every couple seconds or so to try and generate followers for my Twitter account. It's a well-known strategy to kind of just mass follow people who are following accounts that are similar to yours. And the goal there is to have them follow you back. So we're going to use the Twitter API and try and automate this following process. We might also build in some functionality to check who follows us back after a certain amount of time. And if they don't follow us back, maybe we unfollow them or something like that. Some of this might be a little bit against their policy. So we're going to try and maybe circumvent some of these securities they have in place and just see if we can build out sort of an application that might potentially boost my pretty sad Twitter following right now. So I was able to draft up a little bit of the functionality that I want our bot to have. So the first thing that I want to be able to do is I want to be able to give it a list of accounts and have the bot go into the followers of that account and then start to follow those followers. So for example, a good demographic for my account might be something like the followers of Free Code Camp. So maybe I go to Free Code Camp's followers and then I start to follow each of them, 1 per minute or so. We know that there's going to be some rate limiting, which I'll get into in a second, but that's the general idea of the following functionality. I want to be able to give it a list so that I'm not just spamming one account's followers, because that's something that the Twitter Terms of Service says they look for. In addition, I want to be able to print a list of all the accounts that don't follow me back and have a link to their profile. That way I can manually do some unfollowing. I don't want to automate this whole process because I really don't want my account to get banned. So this will allow me to kind of automate it, but not actually do anything that Twitter wouldn't allow. So some of the Twitter limits that stuck out to me are we can only follow 400 accounts per day. So I'm thinking that over the 24-hour time span, I follow just under this amount. So we split up the day by 400 and then we follow every X amount of minutes one account. That should come in under their limit, especially if we're varying where we're getting these followers from. They do have an unspecified amount for the hourly limit. It says here, you've followed too many accounts too quickly, try again in an hour or so, but it doesn't give us any more info than that. So this is going to be kind of a hit or miss. So we don't want to be just using one account, like duplicating others' followers. We're going to try and avoid this and stay under our limits, and then it should be good to go. So I'm going to jump into actually setting up an application to interface with the Twitter API, and then I will check back in and show you guys what I've gotten so far. Okay, so we started making some headway. So the first thing you have to do is you have to create a developer account on developer.twitter.com, and then you have to register an app. So I created this app called TwitterBot Average Dev, and when you do that, you're going to get 4 different things that you need to have in your code. Your API and your secret key, which I believe are called like your consumer keys or something like that. Yeah, so your consumer key and your consumer secret. And then you're also going to get an access token key and an access token secret. And with all 4 of those things, you can make a call to the API. I stored all those as environment variables, and we make a call to the twitter.api with all of my keys. And if we do all of that properly, then we can see that I actually successfully make a call. Yesterday we ran into a little bit of an issue. The Twitter API only gives you 15 requests every 15 minutes. You can actually only get the list of user IDs when I'm getting the followers in groups of 5,000. So if I try and do a large account where it's more than 5,000 times 15 followers, then I will actually run out of requests, and then I have to sit there and wait for 15 minutes, which I had to do twice yesterday before I figured out that this was a thing. So with the count parameter, you can actually say how many followers you want to retrieve at a time. So that way I don't go over my 15 rate limit. Okay, so I'm going to run you through the basic idea of the application so far. We're establishing a connection to the API. Next, I'm passing in that connection to my follow function. What does the follow function do? Well, it's going to go and build a pool of followers first by using this follow loop API or follow loop function call. The follow loop is going to go through the list of names that I've established up here, which are just people who are relevant to my content or whose followers might enjoy my content. So I have Free Code Camp, 100x Code, which is a 100 Days of Code account, and Code Academy. So we're going to go through each of these accounts and get the first 200 followers. So we make a call to get followers with the currently established connection and the full name of the account, and that's going to return a list of the first 200 followers of that account. So then we append those 200 followers to the followers pool, and then we are going to return that pool back to the follow function. So that's where we are right now. So this is what happens when we run the application. We end up with all these user IDs and screen names for our pool. So now we can loop through and use either the ID or the screen name to actually follow that user. Okay, so I went ahead and filled out the rest of the follow function. All this is going to do is loop through our pool, which has a bunch of user objects in it, and it is going to create a friendship, aka follow, each of those people. So if we look at a user object, it has all of this information stored about each user. The only thing we're using right now is this ID section. Create friendship user underscore ID equals i.id. So we're getting that user's ID. Then I'm just printing out his or her screen name, saying followed at, and then their screen name so that I can keep track of who the program's following. Then it sleeps for 30 minutes. This is my current Twitter account. As you can see, I have 261 followers and I'm following 1,295 people. So we are definitely going to see this number go up, and hopefully we also see the follower numbers go up. So I'm going to go ahead and run the app. All right, look at that. We followed our first user. So if I go back to my Twitter page and I actually refresh my profile, do we see that number go up? We did. Look at that. It went up by 1. So I'll check back in a little while and see what progress we've made. Welcome back, day 3 of the build. As you saw in that last clip, I was actually able to leave the program running for about 6 hours, which means it ended up following about 12 people. Twitter never flagged my account for automated following or anything like that, so I actually believe we probably could have gotten away with a quicker follow limit than 1 person per 30 minutes, but that's something we can maybe experiment in the next part of this build. As for the code, I really only changed one thing. So as you'll see in this for loop right here, this line previously wasn't here, so we would sleep for 30 minutes and then we would loop back up and try and use the same API object to continue our following process. Unfortunately, Twitter has a timeout operation where once you haven't connected to the API for a set amount of time, you actually lose that connection and you can no longer reference. So in order to combat that, all I'm doing now is reestablishing my connection to the API here before I move on to trying to follow the next person. So that's going to wrap it up for part 1 of this build. If you guys are interested in seeing more videos like this or me continuing this build, be sure to let me know down in the comments. We could really expand on this idea, maybe automate the unfollowing process of people who don't follow us back, or automate sending DMs to people who have just followed us. And I think there's a lot of potential there. So if you're interested, make sure you like and leave a comment. Also, be sure to subscribe for future videos on this channel, and I'll see you next time.